Hey Tim, welcome back to the channel, man. As always, I'm stoked and pumped up to see you. So in this episode, I want to talk a little bit about counseling. Some good practices I've seen, some bad practices I've seen, some things that maybe we can all put it in our kit bag to help us master our craft at doing this important event. This is going to be, I think, probably broken up into a series of a couple shorter videos, if you will, to talk about different types of counselings, right? Because I want to give you some vignettes. I want to give you some questions that maybe you might hear on a board or from your first sergeant or platoon sergeant. And so I don't want to get it too. I don't want to get too crammed where there's not enough meat and potatoes in here, and it's all gravy, if that makes sense. So on that note, man, if this is what you're into, consider liking and subscribing and sharing and doing all that kind of stuff. But definitely leave some comments down below. To be honest with you, that's what I'm most interested in. So as we know, there are all kinds of counselings and reasons for counselings. And what better place to start with than in this one, I think we'll talk about initial reception and integration counselings, as well as some things that we need to do to just plan, prepare, and execute our counselings, if that makes sense. So we often get it mixed up, right, with an initial reception, right, a reception, and then integration. We confuse these things, these two counselings a lot, by assuming that they are one and the same, but they are in fact two separate counselings. In fact, you as that first line NCO, we should not be given that reception counseling, if you will. Normally that's done at reception. But sometimes, depending on the circumstance and duty location, the situation is going to dictate, we may find ourselves giving a reception counseling. But either way around it, we're going to talk about that initial counseling, right? So what do we want to talk about in an initial counseling? So here's the scenario, here's the vignette. You have a soldier who just arrived for your unit. You're getting ready to execute an initial counseling. What are you going to talk about to this young soldier? Go. So on this one, I want to kind of peel back the timeline a little bit, and I want to understand a little bit more about the soldier and where they're coming from. Are they single? Are they married? Are they coming out of AIT? Are they PCSing from Korea? Right? Is this their first, second, third duty station? Do they have any family needs that need to be addressed? Do they already have a room in the barracks if they're single? Are they already on the housing list? Do they know what their plan is if they're married? If they're a sergeant promotable, is this something that I need to go ahead and automatically get a CNA put in so we can get this cat out of the barracks? Do they have any financial needs, right? I want to make sure that I have a few things prepared prior to, like I have a welcome packet for my company that I try to make sure every soldier gets, that tells them about our company, tells them about all the locations around that they're going to be using, from the DFAC to the TMC to dental clinic to where CIF is, a couple maps of JBLM, things of this nature, right? I want to make sure that I understand that I give them an alert roster, right? It has everybody's phone numbers that they go ahead and plug in case they need to contact anybody. Now I have all these things ready, and I have the service member come in. I want to make sure that they've taken care of finance, right? That they've 100% cleared post, including finance, because that's the big one that's going to impact the soldier, especially if they have a BAH change coming in. Or maybe they're coming in from Hawaii and they used to get COLA. I want to make sure that COLA has been stopped. So I want to review their LAS, and I want to review their packet that they use to in-process. Does that make sense? I want to look at their SRB. I want to get to know more about the soldier, right? What's their GT score? What's their DM's date, right? Are they prior service or not? Let me look at their duty locations. Let me look at their home of record. Let me get to know about the soldier. And so now I kind of have all this stuff put together, and now I have service member plopped down in a seat next to me in a place that is quiet. It's not we're not being distracted. It's at an appropriate time, right? It's not at 1900 on the hood of a car where somebody's just signing and dating for yesterday. having a good quality conversation. And we're going to start to get to know soldier. Like, hey, soldier, tell me, Schmuckatelli, why did you enlist? I ask every soldier that comes into my company that question. Why did you enlist in the Army? Tell me more about you, about what makes you tick. That's what I'm really asking, right? What are your short-term goals, like 6 months? What's your goal? You know, what's your goal for the next 2 to 4 years? Again, still short-term, right? What's your long-term goal? See, if I can make people believe and understand that it is true, that I want their goals to be attained, I want them to succeed. If they succeed in their goals, then odds are they're going to be a little bit more bought into what we're doing as a company. Does that make sense? And it's true. Now they got to put 51%, right? I can only meet somebody a little less than halfway because it's them working on their goals. But tell me about your family, right? Do you have big brothers and sisters? Do you have no family? Where are you from in the world, right? What are your hobbies? Now, do you have any needs? Again, we kind of talked about this earlier, but do you have any specific needs that we need to get after today before we leave this counseling session? Again, your wife is pregnant and you're not signed up on WIC and you need housing and you need to go see and make contact with that PCM, right? Or family's EFMP and you need to talk to the EFMP coordinator. Or your car broke down on the way here and you still need to get this thing fixed. We got resources for all this stuff. Right? So I know where the soldier came from. I've identified the soldier's needs. We get to chit chat. And now I want to start. Now I have all that first. Now I can start sharing more about myself, our unit, our location. Say, here's our goals, here's our standards, here's our battle rhythm, right? Here's our approved training calendar for the rest of this quarter. Here's what we're doing. Here's when you can expect to not have head in pillow. Here's where I need you to be every single day. This is the uniform that we're wearing. Here, let me drive you around post now. Now, I know I gave you a map, but I want you to see all these places with your own two eyes. Here's where clothing and sales is. Here's where the commissary is. Here's where the DFAC is. If our DFAC closes on the weekend, so this is where you need to go on the weekend. And then I start to talk a little bit more about the unit, right? Maybe even a car ride, driving around. Here's what our unit's MET is, our mission essential tasks. METOOL if you have more than one, right? Gotta have a list. And you start breaking these things down and talking and having just real honest to goodness conversation about who you are, who they are, who your unit is, and what is going on. And we take all that and we document on a 4856. And before they get their next performance counseling, I want to make sure I close this one out. There's no real plan of action except unless I had something that I wanted them to do. Like I want you to go to the Stone 8. You said that you want to continue your education. You've already been in for 3 years, so go to the Stone Ed Center and get enrolled in a class because you're not enrolled in any classes right now. I can see that you are enrolled in DLC 1. So before the end of the month, I want you to finish DLC 1. Hey, I can see by looking at your MedPros that we need to go and get you a dental appointment. You should already had a PHA coming out here, right? Because that was required on your orders. But your vision and your hearing is due. Let's get these appointments in and let me show you where and how to do these things. Team, hope you enjoyed the content of this one. If you did, again, make sure you like it. Smash that like button, man. And consider sharing it out with a battle buddy or friend. That way we can continue to keep this conversation rolling. Again, team, listen. biggest thing I'm looking for you from are some comments down below. That way I can continue to master my craft. It is getting chilly out there, so make sure you get your smoking jacket on. That way you got to look cool if you want to be cool. Hey, I know it's not all that cool, but team, I appreciate all you guys, man. You stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.